today's video, we're going to create a card that is sure to bring a smile to anyone's face. Hi, I'm Stacy and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy and are inspired to create. Let's get started. Today I'm using MFT Picture Perfect Stamp Set, MFT Smile Dynamics die, and Lawn Fawn Say Cheese Again dies. I'm just taking one of the stamps in the set and I put it in my MISTI. I've got a waffle flower grip mat down there holding my cardstock in place. I'm going to stamp it out. I'm going to stamp it out 3 times. I do double stamp them. I'm not sure if I show that. And I'm using a Copic friendly ink. I use Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It's what I have. It's readily available in craft stores if I run out or I don't have to order it. And then I'm showing you here that I'm going to be using these dies, the large one and then the smaller set for the Polaroids. And it doesn't fit. MFT sold a die set for Polaroids that fit this stamp set, but you don't even have to have these. If you have a square die, you just find what fits for that image, and then you could even cut the rest of it on your paper trimmer, or you could use a little bit of a larger rectangle die that will fit and make a Polaroid cut. Or you could use a nesting square set, cut the center, and then do the frame, but then don't cut it all the way down at the bottom, and then you shift your die down and then finish cutting it so that you get the wider bottom portion of a Polaroid. And the same with a stamp set. You can also use this stamp set, or you could turn any stamp sets that you have into photos. You're just going to crop them, stamp them out and crop them with your die. And I just am going to get started here, and I'm going to color up. I think these are hamsters, but they could be guinea pigs. Whatever they are, they're super cute. Probably depends on your recipient. If they had hamsters, they're going to see hamsters. If they had guinea pigs, they're going to see guinea pigs. And I'm just going in with some E20 markers, and I mapped out my shadows first with my lightest, and then I went in with my darkest, and that's how I'll be going from, I believe, here on out. And I work from typically my darkest to my lightest and then back again. And this is Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. You know, I got the Copic blending cardstock, that Express It cardstock, and I love it, but I've been struggling with the shading on it, and I think it's just I am so accustomed to using the Nina Solar White, and when I first used that Copic Express It blending cardstock, I was so excited, said I wouldn't use Nina again, and I just noticed that my blending, because that's what I'm comfortable with, so I just have to learn how to use the cardstock. So whatever you're using, if you color on Hammermill, or maybe I liked Walmart's brand for a long time because it was inexpensive and I could get good blends on it. Just experiment with the paper you have. You may use Bristol Smooth cardstock. I've used that as well, which gives a nice blend. And you can use Copics, you can use other alcohol ink markers, you could use colored pencils, you could do it on watercolor paper and watercolor, but today I'm using Copics. If you've been here before, you know that's my jam. That's what I like to color with. And I wanted to come back to coloring with some Copics and doing a cute card, because I've been making some mixed media cards, which currently I'm in the process of making one, and have it partially filmed, so look forward for that coming out. It's been a lot of fun playing around with the different mediums and a different style, but it was sure felt in my comfort zone to come back to a cute little critter card. And I'm just coloring these with some warm grays for the white portion of this little hamster. And I'm coloring with a center highlight. And it's not going to be accurate. I say that a lot, but color how you're comfortable coloring. But for me, I like to, when I do the center highlight or any highlight, I like to go with my darkest and leave a gap in between that line of the image and where the shading is, so that I could go in with my lightest so it looks like there's a highlight there. For me, I like that look. It gives more dimension for my eye, and it's just what I'm comfortable coloring. So whatever you're using to color your images, whatever you're comfortable with, just do it. I mean, it's just important to create, right? And then I started using some E00, I think there was a 000, and some E markers for the little hands, little paws, and the inside of the ears, but that E000 or quadruple zero, I wasn't looking. Um, Whatever that lightest one is, I get rid of. It was too light, and then I went in with an R marker to add some pink tones to the little paws. And I know it cut it off there a little bit at the end, but I finished it up that way. So I'm going to color this image here on camera. I didn't realize my phone had run out of memory, which is so weird. It's so weird. And I went and cleared it out, and then I had more than enough. It was barely using any, and it's an iPhone. It was weird that I'd never, I don't know, maybe you guys know. It took forever. It took a few days, even though I got rid of a bunch of stuff, to reset. It was weird. Anyway, these are the same E markers because this is the same stamp set. I just used the smaller Polaroid to crop it and make it look like it was zoomed in. And so I want to color them the same because I want it to appear that they were different poses or angles that these little guys got their pictures taken with. And same thing with using a different stamp set or different stamps and cropping in. It's the same concept. But I do want to shade them up the way I did on the larger image because the lighting would still be the same. And these guys were a lot of fun to color. It was really, they were simple because it wasn't overcomplicated. It was neutrals, which neutrals go together. So it was a lot of fun. And then with the background is where I brought in pattern paper and some brighter colors to brighten it up and make it cheery. And here I am going back in with a darker warm grays. And that R marker for the little nose and inside of the ears and the paw. See, now I'm just using the E00 and the R12 to do the paws and the ears because that E000 was too light. And then I just added a little bit of blue highlight in the eyes because they would have some shading. I don't even know if it really shows up. It's not necessary. You could use gray markers. You could use no markers and just leave them white. It also, because when I colored, I think, another image, it got a little bit of the E markers into the white of the eyes. Because that blue marker is so washed out, it helps to push the brown marker out. So I'm coloring up this little guy, which got cut because I ran out of memory on my phone. But on the larger image, it's the same thing. I colored it the same way. I just colored the entire image. And you could color all these images up and then crop them and cut them. But I didn't want to color what I wasn't going to use on my card. And then when I get to this little guy's eyes, I go in with some E markers, and you'll see me, in case I forget to say, I go in with these E markers, but I wasn't real happy with the tone. And when I watched it back, I was fine with it, but then I went over it with the warm grays. So just choose whatever tone you want. That's the only reason that I went back over with warm gray. And you can do a undertone wash with Copics just like you can with watercolors and layer them up. But here, see, I'm using those E40 markers. And then I wasn't real happy with it, probably because I was more happy with the coloring on the other guy. And so I went in with my warm grays and just went over them. But it will have a different appearance than it does on the one without those E markers underneath it. So, how has your guys' spring been going? The weather here's been quite strange. It got really hot. We had the AC on for a couple of days. Then we got rain. It was really cold. And then now it's hot again. And I live in Northern California, and I am not looking for the summer here. Forward to the summer up here. Where I'm at, like up at the tippy top of California, and it gets hot. I mean, like hot as hell hot. We get triple digits. I think we were in the 120s last year, but in the winter last year we had snow, so we get some extremes here. But what's nice is I live near a couple different national forests and parks, and so we have lakes up here. We have a ski resort about an hour away. The beach is about I'd say maybe 2 hours away. If that, I don't even think it's that far. I think it's about an hour and a half. So there's a lot to do recreation around where I'm at. And it's really beautiful up here. It's not like being in Southern California where there's a lot of just big buildings and pavement, and up here it's a lot different. And I'm from Southern California, so from the city down there, and I like them both, but it is really nice up here. And then I'm going in, I'm adding a backdrop behind these guys, and I'm using some end markers. And I chose those because I didn't want to go with a cool gray, but I also didn't want to go with a warm gray, so they're kind of in between. But you don't need them. You can use whatever grays you want. And then I'm going ahead and adding some ground to this one, since you can see their feet and where they're standing. And then I'm going to go around with that darkest end marker and just do a drop shadow. And then you'll see me get to the other side, and where the drop shadow would connect with the ground, I decided I needed to go in with a darker marker. So that ground had some more definition. The flooring had more definition than the drop shadow. So that's why I stopped. But I go back in, I do the drop shadow exactly how I did on the other one. And then I'll just blend those out, and I chose these grays also because the background in the pattern paper is so colorful. I didn't want to add too much color to the images themselves. And I had debated on whether or not to do colors that match the pattern paper in the background, but as you saw from the thumbnail and the intro, the Polaroids I did with the colors that match the pattern paper. So you could go with the colors in the background behind these little guys and use white Polaroid photos. You could do it, you could do color in the background and colored pattern paper. I didn't want it to be too heavy because I wanted the images to pop and stand out and breathe as well. Sometimes for me, too much color or too many patterns and not enough neutral, whether it's white, tan, black, to breathe, for the image to breathe, it doesn't pop in the way that I like it to. And then I'm just using some Scotch tape to tape these images in because they are exactly the same size. But you could just cut out the frames and layer it over the top of those images and cut those images down to go back behind the Polaroid and not have to tape it like that. And this is a 5x7 card, and this is some old pattern paper that my mother-in-law gave me that I love the colors on. I remember there were cameras, so I pulled this paper out, but use what you've got. And then I laid it out, used some press and seal to lift where I wanted those images to lie, and then glued them down. And then that smile die, I used the negative as a template to space them out. And as you can see there, when I pushed them down in and pulled it up that pattern paper because it's thin like scrapbook paper. And I just used a Copic marker to try to hide it, and then I decided that wasn't good and used some hearts and made some little embellishments. But there's the little card. Did it make you smile? It made me smile. Thanks for spending some time with me today, guys. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.